Welcome to Look Behind the Look, the celebrated podcast that explores your favorite looks in film, television, and fashion history. Through conversations with the fashion world's elite and award-winning hair, makeup, and costume designers on sets around the world, you will see and hear exciting tales from behind the scenes, career origin stories, and tons of advice and tips. I'm your host, Tiffany Bartok. Hey everybody, welcome to Look Behind the Look. This week's episode is about a new movie called The Roses and the costume designer behind the looks in the movie. It's been in theaters, new meaning it's coming out on digital October 21st on Disney Plus, and PC Williams is the costume designer, and we had a great conversation, of course, about her talking to me about the looks in the film and designing for Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch. Have you seen the movie? If you haven't seen it, you're going to be seeing it on digital, and I want to know what you thought of it. It's pretty fun. It's a lot of fun, and the looks are really fun. And they get increasingly more indicative of the characters and how they're sort of decaying into this madness of them dealing with their marriage. The movie's a lot of fun, but also this talk was a lot of fun because PC and I found ourselves delving into the industry and sort of taking a good meeting and what you do in your meetings and what you find yourself doing. And I really loved this conversation because I am in a lot of meetings looking for creatives and I am on the other end of things a lot. And so this is a really great advice episode toward the end, and I would love to hear, how you feel when you're being interviewed for a creative position and any tips or tricks you keep in mind when you're looking for that next job, or sort of finding out mid-meeting that maybe this isn't the job you want to take. Very interesting conversation with PC Williams, and tell me what you think of the film and the show. PC, I'm so happy to meet you.
Hi.
I loved The Roses, and
Yay.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I've been reading a lot of articles about your work in it, and
hmm
in Vogue, and Fiona Sue.
hmm
I was reading her Substack about it, and it's
hmm
just. It's so. I want to ask you first, right off, about how you feel about doing work that is so it looks and appears to be effortless, but which results in it being kind of thankless sometimes, you know what I mean? But it was so perfect for the characters. And there's really an art to like making it look like believable everyday wear for these people. And what was your mindset going into creating that believability?
I think that any sort of like successful contemporary work is kind of like thankless, is that like in
Totally.
order for it to be a success, it has to ring so true that you kind of don't even notice it.
Yes.
And so I think you always set out with those intentions to make something that enables folks to feel that they're watching something that's relatable to them. Like I think when you go to watch like period dramas or fantasy things, it kind of you're not in this world that's true to you. You're kind of in a different
Totally.
space. And so you notice them much more. Whereas to make something that's effortless or like appears to be super grounded and authentic and true, it's done in a way where you actually don't notice it. So it's kind of like you're creating work in a lane that kind of I think um brings up a lot of sort of you can have a really great time doing this job, and you can make costumes that have made these characters, but a lot of people are going to be like, oh no, they obviously just chose that themselves because like that obviously that suits them so well, so then
Right.
maybe they didn't do the work. And you're like, no, this is like
Yeah.
this was like a decent sized team for a contemporary project. We were like a team of like 20 in costume. We
Amazing.
had like we had a workroom, we were making, we were adapting, we were, hiring, we were buying. There was like a lot of work went into what you see, even though thankfully it looks like it was always there, like it's always been.
Right. Right. Right out of their closets. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. Yes. And can you talk about the evolution of the characters and how it was reflected in the costumes?
Of
And well, the
course.
evolution of her and the decline of him, I guess.
It's yeah, I think that like both of them to me, have really clear points of view.
Yes.
And I think that both of them individually are really saying something with their wardrobe. Like Theo's wardrobe talks to someone who is obsessed with design, like the clothing that he has. They're not necessarily fashion pieces, but they are pieces that are they meet the functional requirement of what it is that he's looking for. He's looking for great fabrics, a great silhouette. This idea of like, living in a sort of like modular wardrobe where everything can go with everything else. You're not really having to make decisions in the
Right.
morning about what you wear. A very limited color palette again helps with the modular idea. And when we first see him, he's in like a soft separate suit because I think that he wouldn't really wear like a structured suit. He's not that kind of
Right.
architect. And as he starts to decline professionally, but rise personally in terms of like, tapping into who he is as a carer rather than as a provider, tapping into
Right.
who he is in terms of getting to getting his hands dirty, getting his hands at one with nature in this like building of their dream house. You sort of see, the soft separate suiting goes away, but it's kind of like soft separate clothing. It's like a knit, a t-shirt, a beautiful shirt. It's kind of like, layers upon layers upon layers, but all of the same sort of like tone. So it's sensual. It's sort of,
Yes.
very masculine, but very also quite simple.
Yes.
Like quiet luxury is what Theo's vibe is. And I think as he goes from one end to the other, you can see that transition quite clearly. And I think with
Absolutely.
her, she's very print heavy. She's
Yeah.
like super fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
In my mind, I was like, could be art teacher, could be.
but I think like a chef is basically is an artist. She's
Yes,
making
absolutely.
not with like paints, but she's making with her hands, with food, with
Mhm.
flavors, with like textures in your mouth. You're kind of like
Yeah.
when you see her at home with all of those desserts, and it's like all of this for a family of four,
Right.
really?
Right. 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 Right.
But she's kind of like she is a creative person, and so you kind of wanted that to come through. And we start off with much more bigger, baggier shapes like Natasha Zinco jumpers and um bigger sort of plumo pants. And then as she becomes much more engaged in the corporate world, I didn't want to lose any of the fun that she had. I didn't want to lose the
Mhm.
prints that she had because I exist in a sort of, yes, I'm creative in that I'm a costume designer, but a lot of my life is spent in like meetings with execs. So
I
it's,
know.
it's less of the fun that you think you're going to have and more of the
Yes.
sort of business side of what's going to happen. But I don't necessarily change my aesthetic
Right.
for that space. Yes, I'm aware of the space and I want to make sure that, I'm presenting the best version of myself in that space, but I'm not going to wear like head to toe black or wear like a suit or like that's just not me. So I kind of wanted to have the same sort of ethos with Ivy's costumes. And so we kind of kept all the fun colors and the fun prints, but we just smartened her up. We, got things that were a bit more fitted to the body. We had, um, things with like a some smaller detailing, just like much smarter. And I think you see that sort of like transition, but it still feels like the same person. I think that's what I'm probably most proud of,
Yes.
is that they both feel like the same people we met at the beginning that we meet at the end, but they have been on this very visual journey,
Right.
within their costumes in the film.
Right. Right. That is so true. She they were a lot of fun. I mean, they had to have been. Did they have any say in the costume design
Of
at all?
course.
And
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
was that process?
I think that like any successful design, any successful design collaboration has to be a collaboration.
Okay.
And my job primarily is to dress an actor to reflect the character that they're trying to bring to life.
So you hear
And
their take on it first. Okay.
mhm. I present my take on the words on the page
Got it.
through I make my boards without having spoken to the actors, just from what I'm reading,
Okay.
from the conversation I've had with the director, and from my initial gut instinct. I then present it to the actors and I get their opinion. What are they drawn to? What feels a bit not quite right for them? What do they feel like I could lean into a little bit more? Um, what are they like? What ideas did they have from what they were seeing for this character in their mind? And I bring all of that together. I, start to think about it a little bit more. And then we start shopping or sourcing or making. And then it's together, we do it. I don't like to do a lot of like long fittings because I've got ADHD and I can't concentrate for that long. So,
Yeah.
and that's just
It
like,
can
well,
be
after a while, I'm
long.
just like, yeah. And I can love you. I can like love
Right.
to like
Yeah.
hang out with you. But at some point, my brain just like stops.
Yeah.
And so it's like, let's start this again tomorrow or in a week's time. And actually, that's great for me because I can then look back at these images a couple of days later and highlight the things that I think are working and share them with the actor and see if we're aligned or if they think slightly differently. And then the next fitting, we sort of but it all begins with like, by after that conversation with them, the first conversation with them, starting to build their wardrobe out. And so I buy a wardrobe of
Okay.
clothing for them, and then together we start to make things. And as much as it's a collaboration, if it's something that I don't like, it's not going to go on screen. If it's
Good.
something that they don't like, it's not going to go on screen. So all the things that we're seeing are things that we have both gone, yeah, we're
Yeah.
really into this. And then sometimes you're both really into something, and the director's like,
Mm.
I'm not feeling that. And you're like,
Shoot.
yeah, no worries. I've got something else. And
Yeah.
you bring
Yeah.
something else out. Because you have this wardrobe, you can just pull something else out of the wardrobe
Okay.
that can fit in with whatever scene we're doing. You know, if I have a little bit of time to sort of make it make sense. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love talking about the different collaboration processes because they're all so different. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I always wonder if people go director first or actor first or them first. You know what I mean? What order of events
Mm,
of people that they go in because, you can really get influence. Who are you trying to please? You know what I mean? At
yeah.
the end of your process, who are
Mm.
you trying to please the most? The
The
audience, the director,
Like,
you,
I'm trying to please the character
the
that's in the
character.
scripts.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I think the first thing that comes to me, I get the script before I meet anyone.
Yep.
And so it's going off my instincts of what this script requires, right? Then I meet the director first. Then I meet the actors.
Okay.
And so you kind of you get different opinions at different stages in your prep time. But the biggest thing for me is making sure that when I watch this film back, I have served the character of Ivy and I've served the character of Theo. I obviously want my actors Olivia and Benedict to be happy, but I want us to look on this screen and see these two people who are not Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yeah.
but who are Ivy Rose and Theo Rose, and to feel
Love
like
that.
we have done that.
Oh, I love that.
That's who I'm in service of, I think. And then the rest of it is just trying to make everyone like, jump into your world. But
Yeah.
I think I think at the end of the day, we're all in service of the characters because we all have to leave our ego at the door at some point if we wanted to create work that's going to stand the test of time. And so
Hmm.
you have to sort of, sometimes an actor might be like, oh, I think this about this thing. And you're like, that doesn't ring true to me.
Yeah.
And like, if it doesn't ring true to me, I feel like maybe that's not the right call to make.
Ah.
And you've got to be willing to say no. And I think
Hmm.
it's hard when you've got like, big talent that you're working
Hmm.
with. But what we have to as designers, as below the line talent, we also bring value to this work that we see as a final
Yes.
product. And we
Hmm.
have to really um believe in that. So it's not that I'm trying to like stroke your ego. I I still feel like a fetus in this industry, but comparatively, I'm an expert in my field
Hmm.
because this is what I do day in, day out. Whereas you're an expert in that field, that's what you do in, day out.
Hmm.
And you might ask me questions about what I think about the character, but whether or not you choose to use those in your development of that character is totally different. I
Hmm.
might ask you about what we think we should do with this character, but at the end of the day, some decisions I will need to make to be in service of the character. So yeah, I
Right.
think that the character is who I am most in service to.
Beautiful. I love that.
Mm.
When you are, can you talk to me about that initial meeting? Because, a lot of people listening are just starting out in the industry and they always look to people of your stature to provide mentorship and suggestions and advice. And can
Mm.
you talk about that first meeting when you're getting the job? And do you yourself pour out all of your ideas at once, or do you try to match the energy in the room, or how do you prepare for that meeting where you've read the script
Yeah.
and you go in and you talk about your ideas for the first time.
So I think that meeting is as much as an interview for me as it is an interview for them,
Aha, that's great advice.
because you're about to spend anywhere between 4 months to like a year with these people.
Yeah.
And you need to work out if you want to spend 4 months to a year with these
Wow.
people.
Yeah, sure.
Like
Totally.
we have a choice.
Right.
And I think often we forget that we have a choice. We don't have to take everything that comes our way. No is actually a very powerful word that should probably be used more often than it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think those meetings I go in wanting to see if we vibe,
Hmm.
wanting to see if we connect on the ideas, if because sometimes I think you can spend all this time doing these boards
Yes.
and your ideas are so wildly on a different planet to where the
Uh-huh.
director is thinking,
Hmm.
that now you've just put yourself in a position where they're going to see you as the person with that particular idea. And I
Got it.
think anyone who works in this industry will know that we have a multitude of ideas.
Yes.
So I might have an
Hmm.
instinct, but until I've spoken to someone who spent, because by the time we come into the project, if someone's been spending 3, 4, 5 years on this project, the director
Hmm.
or the
Hmm.
production company, and they have a real sort of grasp on what it is that they're trying to do, how they're trying to mold it and shape it. So I kind of just go in to talk to them about what their intentions are and just to give them some of my initial gut responses to the text.
Love that.
Like this is what I'm thinking. And often it is spoken rather than visual,
Okay. That's
because I
really
think it's
interesting.
about, yeah, for me it's just it's this human to human connection.
Yes.
And if we're connecting, then I go away and I start to board up and start to, but my boards are very wordy anyway, so you've kind of received it in that chat. I'm just now giving you
Yeah.
visuals to help with it. But I
Uh-huh.
think we often make the mistake that we are the ones, we're going in selling ourselves only. And I think
Yeah.
the sales pitch is happening in both directions.
Yes, that is so empowering to think of it that
Mm.
way too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What do you do when you get into the meeting and you're like, oh God, this is not for me. They have $1 and they are making a war movie
Mm.
and I
Hmm.
want out of this abort mission.
I think that it's like every meeting. So I have this saying, which I live my life by, which is what's meant for me won't pass me by.
Right.
And so even if I know that this isn't the right project for me, we only have to spend 40 minutes chatting.
Right.
I can chat for 40 minutes.
Right.
I can chat about the weather. I can chat about sports. I can chat about the project. I can chat about the actors. I can chat about, where our lives have overlapped. And I can leave that meeting having had a positive connection. This might
Yes.
not be the right project, but that connection might resurface 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Yes.
And I just want to have a nice time with nice people. So if your £2 project isn't the project that I can jump on because I have a mortgage to pay,
Yeah.
then I can like wait till you have like a project with some cash and we can come back together then. But I
Right.
don't need to be like rude and be like, nah, this ain't for me. I can,
Right.
I stay in there and
I
I'm
love
positive
that.
and I have this positive time with you. And, you know, my agent will just touch base and say maybe this isn't the right thing for her, but she
Right.
loved it and she'll speak to you soon.
Right. It's not an insult to you that like,
N-
that and then their fault that they didn't have
No,
what you
no. And
needed.
listen, I'm going to go up for interviews. Like I just found out last Friday that I didn't get something. That's okay. There are times I'm going to go in and I'm going to be really excited and it's not going to be mine and someone else is going to get it. And that's part and parcel of this. Well, so the way that it can happen to someone say no to me, the same way it can happen that I say no to someone else.
Right, 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 right. And
It's what I mean by
you're
we
think
have the choice.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when you don't get something, do you
Mm.
seek feedback? Do you let it go? No, I wouldn't.
What are you going to, what feedback? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I couldn't
I
even get
know.
it.
I feel like actors constantly like they want the feedback. They want the feedback. They're searching for this validation or something. But
Mm-mm.
it's like it always baffles me. I'm like, why are you reaching back out? Like, stop.
I do this
Um,
thing where like I will reach out to a director and be like, listen, I just heard from my rep, but I just wanted to let you know it was really great to connect. I hope
Great.
that we get to
I
work on
love
something
that.
together soon. Good luck with the project. I can't wait to watch it when it comes out. Fine. But am I going to ask, why did I not get the job?
Right.
Am I trying to get myself depressed?
I
I think I'm
know.
amazing. So I don't need any negative feedback,
Yes. I love
you
that.
know?
Yeah.
Also,
That
like if I'm true to the mantra, what is for me won't pass me by, then that obviously wasn't for me.
that's true. Right.
So let
I
it go.
know. You have when you say these mantras, you have to follow the rules.
You have to go all in.
All
Otherwise, they're just
in. You're
words, you
so
know?
right. Otherwise, it's just like that phrase that you pass around to make people
Yeah.
feel better.
And it's
That
like,
is
no,
so
I want
true.
to actually feel better. So that's not my
Yes.
job. Next.
A
Thank
hundred
you.
percent. That's what a great attitude. I love it. And yeah, it provides perimeters. So,
Mm.
I hate the boundaries get so overused, but like perimeters, like, you know,
But we need to
goals and
protect ourselves, you know. I
of
think that I
course.
think that we need to I understand that for some people it's important to them to have the feedback as to why they didn't get something, like to know why. But I
Hmm.
think there are some whys that I don't need to have answered,
I agree. Yeah. Hmm. You're
you
doing
know?
everything in your power. Hmm.
I'm doing all that I'm meant to be doing.
Yep.
The rest will fall into place when the time is there for it to fall into place. It's actually a really it's such a waste of energy,
It really is. That's a perfect, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And what we do requires so much energy
It really
that it's a
does.
waste of energy. Like I don't need to focus on that.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
focus on something else that's positive, that's going to gear me up for whatever is coming.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one understanding why I didn't get something, it's like if someone says, "Why don't you want this job?" I don't have to explain why I don't want this job. I just don't want the job.
Right, 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 right. Hmm. And speaking of good things that happen, tell me about your BAFTA. Let's talk about that. Yes,
Oh,
how did that project find you? How did you find the whole process of being in an award consideration?
so it was very strange. So that project came to me via a friend of mine who's a production designer who I've known since I was 11 years old. And we started off our careers together, her in production design, my friend MJ Delaney in directing and me doing the costumes. And so we've known each other, before we had tits, like we've known one another.
Yeah.
And she was down to do this project, to do a pilot with this director called Nida Manzourn. And she was like, we don't have a costume designer yet. And at the time, I was wanting to get out of music styling and go into more narrative. I'd been doing music styling with commercials and I wanted to move more into
Oh.
narrative. Yeah. And so she was like, if you want, you can meet her. We can see how it's going. Da, 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 da. And I met with Nida and Syrian, who's the head of TV at Working Title, and Sammy, who I believe has now gone to Clerkenwell. But anyway, Sammy was there at the time. And we just spoke. Like I didn't have any boards. We just chatted about who these women were and what they represented. And, we did the pilot. And then I think the pilot came out on like Boxing Day when I was or Christmas Eve and I was in Mexico. And I was like, oh my God, I need to watch it. And then I got the news like first week of Jan or something that it had been picked up for a series. And I was like, oh my God, exciting. But then COVID happened as we were about to start.
Oh, okay, that's the timing of it. All right.
Yeah, and then I went off to Ireland to shoot something else with MJ and came back, and luckily the timings worked out. But it was honestly, it was like just hanging out with your mates for
Oh,
for
wow.
nine for 8 weeks straight. Like we had no money,
The
and when
best
I mean no
scenario.
money, I mean like no money.
Yeah,
And
I
we were
believe
doing
you.
something, yeah, um, and we were doing something that, like, I think to me felt so natural.
Mm.
But in that project, I realized that my realm of reality is not necessarily everyone else's realm of reality. And that, like, these are
Mm.
women who I see every day up and down where I live, where I eat, where my studio is.
The women that you were costuming, the characters that you're
The
costuming. Yeah.
type of women that we were
Hmm.
costuming, this sort of this, like, Muslim woman who is also Um, proud of her British identity, but proud of her migrant identity, proud
Mhm.
of her religious faith, but also proud of being a Londoner. Like all of these things, which sometimes, especially in the world that we're living in now, are almost at odds with one another, even
Mm.
though diversity, like our difference is what connects us rather than
Yeah.
separates us, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but it just the show came out and did really well, and we are all like, we knew this was funny, but like, what the fuck? Sorry for swearing.
That's
But you know what
okay.
I mean? We were like, what? And then,
Oh,
that first season just picked up like we got I think over 30 nominations for different things from like BAFTA to Spirits to Independent. It was just like mental. And my mum at the time of the
wow.
BAFTAs had been diagnosed with well, not terminal cancer, but like grade 4 um stage 4 cancer.
I'm
So I
sorry.
knew that like she wasn't going to be around for very much longer.
Um,
um and like I'm not really big on like getting married or anything. Like both my siblings are, and they had these big weddings, and my mum was able to do her Nigerian mother thing, which is like make the
okay.
day all about her walking
Yes.
her kids down the aisle. And
Oh,
this was
that's
basically my
beautiful.
version of a wedding, and I was just
Yes.
like,
Oh, wow.
you
What a
know, getting
gift.
this would be amazing. And I remember in the morning of the because my mum came with me, and I was like so happy that she did. But I remember in the morning of having a shower, the morning of the awards, and just being like, I have to be okay with not winning. Just have to be okay, because if I don't get it, I have to, like, it's my first ever nomination. I've
Yeah.
got to be okay with not winning. And I think in hindsight, I was like, if I don't win this, I'm going to be so mad.
Yeah.
But in the
Yeah.
moment, I was like,
Yeah.
I have to be, because I was like, I knew that my mum won't have another opportunity
Uh,
to see me get
No
up there
pressure.
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. No pressure, universe.
No
Like,
pressure. And
no.
like, come on. And then I got up there and I did my speech, and I come down. I was like, oh my God, mum, I forgot to thank you. And she turns to me, she's like, I know. I was watching. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then I'm like, there's like, I'm like this blubbering mess who speaks in like a octave that I don't even know I existed. But no, it's one of and like my best mate came to help me get ready. He's now
Oh,
passed, but like him and my mum went in the
oh,
same week.
wow.
But it was just, I will always remember that day as like one of the best days of my life.
And when you were telling me the story, I was, of course, thinking she was going to say, "Oh, that's all right. It was thank you enough to see you up there." But no, no, she's like,
My
no,
mum's
I know.
Nigerian. My mum is Nigerian. She's like, yes, I know you did not thank me, and you didn't thank
Noted.
God. Can you
Noted.
imagine?
God's like, I did this whole thing. I organized this whole thing. Oh, I love that. I
But no, it
love
was beautiful. It
what a
was
beautiful
beautiful.
gift.
And
What
Nida's amazing. We've worked together so many times, me and Nida,
wow.
and I think she's an incredible talent, beautiful director, incredible writer, really funny woman, got so many amazing ideas. The girls and I, we still chat,
Oh,
like it's like a family. It's positive,
what a
positive.
launch. What a launch for you. Like, did
Yeah.
you felt of course validated, but beyond that, like you were on the right like you because you were talking about how you were transferring or,
Hmm.
pivoting. It's like not
Yeah.
really, but not pivoting fully,
Y-
but
Yeah.
changing your course of direction. And then
Yeah.
what a entree. That's
My first
amazing.
show, and I'm like, and so then the thing about it is that like it's
Mhm.
amazing, but it's also, I think, when not thought about with the right mindset, can be quite inhabiting, because
Mhm.
you have all this success really
Yeah.
early, and it's like you're chasing that
Yeah.
again. And like, you shouldn't do this to chase that. You should do this because you love
Right.
this.
I
But I
know,
think that
right?
when that happens for you, you sometimes forget that like it doesn't really matter,
Right. Hmm.
you know? Like there are so many people who would love to do this for a living and don't have the opportunity or the means or the access, and I do, and that's amazing. There are so many people who have gone their entire careers with never even received a nomination, let alone a win.
Hmm.
And I have like, you've got to put things into perspective and be like,
Yeah.
yes, it might have happened early. And I don't know what the future holds, but I can't let that be something that I'm constantly thinking about,
Yeah.
because that was great and I loved it and it was an amazing moment. But that's that moment, and now what my head has to just keep facing forward without the pressure of that very heavy gong on here. you know?
Yes, yes. What a healthy way of thinking. Sometimes I think like if some people did, they always go, where are they now? Where are they now? What are they
Hmm.
doing now? And then
Hmm.
they never did anything again. And it's like they did that thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
stop, stop. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
enough. Like Ralph
Yeah.
Macchio gave us the Karate Kid, and that's all he needed to do.
We are so grateful. And you know what? He
Thank
might have
you.
decided after the Karate Kid, he doesn't want to do anything else.
I don't
How,
care
who are we
what
to
you
know?
do. I will always have that, and my kid will have that, and
Hmm.
it's great. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I know that this is there's another one coming. There's more awards coming for sure, and you're gonna have your Emmy and your Oscar and all of those things as your career grows because you have such a beautiful mindset, and it's
Hmm.
one that really sets you up to have the stamina for the crazy career that you've chosen. This
Yeah.
beautiful wild animal.
It is a wild, wild animal.
Right?
And
It's
it's
like,
like it takes so much of you
yeah.
to do this well,
Yeah.
I think. Um, I don't know how anyone is able to do it, doing a 9 to 5 and do this job in I think it's physically demanding, it's mentally demanding, it's emotionally demanding, it's really intense, like a pressure cooker,
Yeah.
but it's also liberating and joyful and mental. And when
Mm,
surrounded by the right people, feel feel like I'm a kid having like the best holiday, but just always
wonderful.
tired.
Yeah. Well, the energy exchange, nobody can understand unless you're there. That energy exchange of all these damaged people coming in together to create beautiful
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and it's like they're they're all fractured and beautiful, and the facets are intense, and they all are in the same room, and
Yeah.
it's a
And then
it's
when you end and you're like that, you've been so intense,
yeah.
and then there's no one ringing your phone, and you're like,
Yes.
whoa, like that blues is like
Right.
a real thing because
Yes.
you get so used to that level that you feel lost once the level changes.
I know. And like, did I ever matter at all? It's like, yeah, I
So you
know.
have to
You're
be so
so
strong within
right.
yourself.
100%.
Otherwise, you come out at the other side and you're like, was I just used?
Yes.
And you're like, no, 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 no. We all just gave it everything we
Yeah.
had. And now we need time to replenish and to go join a
Mhm.
new family and give it everything we have. And maybe in 18 months, you come back to this old family and you get to have this really nice time together. And, like
Yes.
it's crazy.
Oh my, why does it make me feel like I'm gonna cry? PC,
It's emotional.
you've hit all the nerves in a beautiful way. I love it.
Oh, I'll take it in a beautiful way.
Oh, yes, yes. All right, PC, I'm gonna let you go for now. I think you're on a job now, no?
I
You're,
am. I am.
yeah.
I'm
Can you
I'm
share what you're
actually
working on?
I'm on a Amazon MGM film with Brie
Exciting.
Larson, Lily Collins,
Okay.
Henry Golden, and Jack Quaid. It's a comedy. It's really funny.
No big deal.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you know. But I'm actually I was hand sewing when you called me,
Oh my
so
gosh.
I'm going back to doing some more. I'm actually glad to be hand sewing rather than being on my computer. Like I was like, I just need a day in the workroom
Okay.
just making so that I feel like I'm a creative being and not just like some
Yes.
manageress. So I'm being
Yeah.
a creative being today.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Well, get back to
Yeah.
it. Get
All
those beautiful
right.
things created. And I
So
know
nice
I'll
to
be
talk to you,
talking to you again.
Tiffany.
So nice to talk to you,
Yes.
PC.
Honestly, this was really fun. And I love the fact that we didn't just stick to roses. It was just, this is
Oh,
what I mean. But like
yes.
I can chat to AJ. Like we just chat. And that was like
Yes.
perfect. So
Yeah. Oh,
thank you.
good. Good, 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 good,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll get this out when Roses is on digital so everybody watches it and at their, yes.
Yay.
It's a
All
great
right, my
film.
love.
Take
Ah,
care.
see
Bye
ya.
for now.
Bye.
Look Behind the Look is a Vinyl Foot production, written by me, your host, Tiffany Bartok, produced by Jace Bartok, and edited by Nicole Tucker. If you're interested in learning more, find our video version on the YouTube channel Look Behind the Look podcast. There you can see rare photos and clips from our guests. And please follow us on Twitter at LookBehindPod and Instagram at LookBehindTheLook. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe. And tell your friends and spread the word. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or any podcatcher of your choice. Thanks for listening to Look Behind the Look.